4 and 3 and 2 and 1. I'm on the mic. The suckers run.
I'm Arizona Family political editor Dennis Welch.
Dennis, fake news Welch. Try to tell the truth.
And this is the Politics Unplugged podcast.
Dennis, if you have a problem with substance abuse, I am more than willing to talk to you anytime you need.
And welcome back to the Politics Unplugged podcast, a special edition, as always, joined by Colin Stan, the producer extraordinaire. Colin, how the hell are you?
I'm good. How are you?
And I say special podcast edition because there's no politics in this Unplugged.
Yeah.
We're just unplugged this week.
We're just unplugged. The special holiday podcast. No one wants to talk politics
Nope.
at the holidays.
Nope.
You don't want to talk politics with your racist Uncle Mike.
No.
Music is safe.
We're going to spend the next hour talking about religion. No?
No. Music. Because everyone agrees on music.
Everybody agrees, and everybody agrees to disagree on music. Have you ever seen a fist fight over a disagreement in music?
Yeah, probably. Well,
I can't remember.
Yeah, one or two on stage.
Well, that might be different. That might be like you're sitting there eating some turkey at Thanksgiving, or and your crazy uncle's is it's just
crazy uncle's talking shit about Switchfoot, and someone else takes offense.
Whatever. What was Tom Petty's original band, Swamp Rat or something like that?
It's something. Swamp something.
Swamp something, like he says. I don't care what you say. That was his best band. And then your father's like, Tom Petty's a genius. Yeah. They start. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that. Nothing comes to mind. I've seen arguments over. I've seen arguments over dumb things. Yeah. Like the dumbest music argument there is like, who's the greatest guitar player there ever was?
Yeah. Yes.
Like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoever you think it is, man.
Yeah, and it's always the same list of five guys from the early 70s, late 60s.
Yeah, right. It's always, it's, or like a good friend of mine, a drummer, he hates that question because people always try to connect with him after they know that he drums, and they're like, oh, who's the best drummer you think ever? And, he's like, I don't know, man. The best drummers are guys that are, never been outside with his drum set.
Yeah.
Just holed up in his room somewhere in his basement.
They're waiting for you to say Neil Peart from Rush, and you're thinking, I don't know, Hal Blaine?
Yeah.
Anyway.
No.
So speaking of stupid lists, we've got two things we're doing today.
Uh-huh.
We've got the Billboard staff choices for the top 50 rock and roll bands of all time.
Yep. And of course, the staff doesn't know what they're talking about. But
it's Billboard. They have to know what they're talking about. It's Billboard, Dennis.
You're right.
They're the Bible of music.
You're right.
It's an impeccable list.
The purveyors of taste and all things rock and roll.
And then after that, we'll pay tribute to some of the musicians who left us in the past year.
Yeah. And if we get time, religion.
We'll see.
Maybe
Bad Religion makes the list. I'm not sure.
No, just unplug this week. No politics. We'll stipulate, yes, something crazy went down in Capitol Hill, and I'm here at the state legislature. And if it's that crazy, we'll be back in a few weeks to
Can you
discuss
believe
it.
he said that? We'll get to that.
Those clowns in Congress were at it again.
Yeah. So should we hit the list?
Let's hit the list.
So this is Billboard. The Billboard staff chose their top 50 rock and roll bands of all time. Yep. We did a variation of this a while back where it was the best American bands, and we made the stipulation you do not include so and so and the so and so. So no Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. They did the same thing, although with one sort of weird difference. They did include one, which we'll get to. Okay. And also they said no vocal groups. So like the Supremes, the Four Tops, if you're strictly vocals, not instrumentation, they didn't include you.
Okay.
Other than that, they said they were fairly loose with defining rock and roll, which of course is where most of the online criticism comes in, because every time you do a rock and roll list and include black people, people freak out online and say that's not rock and roll.
Yeah.
So number one, the Beatles.
Oh, shocker.
Yeah.
I am stunned by that.
Stipulated. The top 5 strikes me as like the top 5 selling T-shirts at the mall record store.
And it's probably weak. It's unimaginative. No risks.
Is all those things. Number 2, the Rolling Stones.
Oh, that's another stunner.
Stones are brilliant.
Yeah.
Sure. You could argue. You have to put the Beatles number 1 on stuff like this.
I guess. I like this. I like the Stones better than the Beatles by and large.
The Beatles are one of those things where I acknowledge the genius. I will acknowledge greatest band of all time, yada, yada. I don't listen to them. I mean, I've heard all of it. I know all of it. I've probably memorized 90% of their catalog and haven't listened to any of it in years and probably won't. And if I'm going to put something on, it's going to be the Stones 10 times out of 10.
Oh, Exile on Main Street or Sticky Fingers, yeah.
Exactly. So the Stones are 2. Number 3, Led Zeppelin.
Man, they're thinking outside the box here, man.
I know.
They're taking a risk on that one.
I know. Yeah. It's like this list is put together by every guy I knew in junior high.
Could this be an AI list?
Supposedly it's not, but I mean, yeah.
I mean, the top 3 already is just like AI could come up with this.
I'm not a Zeppelin guy. I get it. Everyone loves Zeppelin. I'm not a Zeppelin guy, but sure.
I do love Zeppelin.
Number 4, Pink Floyd. Yeah, Floyd's never done it for me.
No. They have a couple of songs that I'm okay with, but by and large, I just think they're overrated.
Kind of precious. I've never been a big fan. Number 5, Queen. Yeah, I don't care about Queen either. Queen had a weird renaissance. I think Queen owes an enormous debt to Wayne's World.
I think enormous is because they were a big band, but they're so much bigger now after Wayne's World than they were when they broke up.
As someone who was alive at their peak, yes, they are viewed now as one of the all-time great bands in a way they absolutely weren't in their later years when they were putting out stuff like Crazy Little Thing Called Love.
And like listeners that go deep into this podcast will know that I don't like Kiss. And I had put like Queen in that same basket as Kiss.
Yeah,
because as I was getting into harder music, heavier rock and roll and stuff like that, people were like, oh, you got to listen to Kiss and you got to listen to Queen, and it never did it for me.
No,
I just wanted it to be a little bit harder or faster or louder, and it just wasn't.
Yeah,
it's like,
all right. Number 6 is Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, they're fine.
They're another one that seems to have had a pretty major renaissance. I think the younger people like Fleetwood Mac more than I would have anticipated.
Yeah, I think their backstory is much more interesting than some of their music.
It is, and some of their music from well before the famous version is really good.
Yeah.
Like the Peter Green era in the late '60s.
Yeah, but I can listen to some. I can listen to some Fleetwood Mac.
Right,
I don't mind it.
Their best stuff is very good. I don't mind it. Number 7, U2. I'm a big U2 fan. You are not.
I am not. We'll stipulate that.
Yeah, I'm happy with them at 7. Number 8, I mentioned that the bands were banned from it. Number 8, Sly and the Family Stone.
Okay.
Absolutely brilliant band. Should probably be higher if you include them. It's still an band, but.
And we'll be talking a little bit more since Sly was one of the musicians who did die this year.
Yeah.
And I'll make the case again when we're talking about it, but I think you put Sly up there with the musical geniuses. I think you can put him on par with people like Prince. Yeah. He was that freaking talented.
I would agree. So more on that later. Number 9, Black Sabbath. Sure.
I've got a personal story I'll share about that because we'll be going over Ozzy Osbourne, who also died this year, and I'll talk about my time doing restitution and how I was for the state.
Yes.
As a young man,
who
made a mistake.
Excellent.
And that's how I was introduced to Black Sabbath. So, yes.
Number 10, Nirvana.
Yeah, I see that.
I can see it. I struggle with bands that were very, very, very derivative of other great bands.
Oh, they're total Pixies.
Much higher on the list.
Yeah.
Pixies, punk bands that came before them. Yeah, but
Loud, Quiet, Loud. That whole recipe.
That's straight Pixies.
That's straight up Pixies. Kurt Cobain is acknowledged as much.
Yes,
but I would also argue, if you were looking at like however you want to term this, let's say you called this list the most important band. I think I would put Nirvana up there, 1 or 2 with the Beatles.
Yeah, it's
because
right up there.
I'd never seen like a band lead such a cultural change than Nirvana. I mean, literally, like, within a few weeks after that video Smells Like Teen Spirit hit, the metalheads were shaving their heads and pretending like they were always into punk.
Yeah.
And, the hair metal bands that were selling out coliseums couldn't even fill out a club.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen anything before or after that. I could only maybe compare it to before our time, maybe what it was like when the Beatles came to America.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. The one thing I remember from that era is hearing them and seeing this cultural change happening and thinking, is that's groundbreaking? Because it reminded me of stuff I was already listening to.
Yeah, if you were
like the Pixies and that, and it was just strange that this was the band that was changing everything, because they weren't unique other than the reach they had.
I mean, if you were somebody who watched, and if you remember this, you're old. 120 minutes.
I still watch it. They still run it.
Yeah. If you watched 120 minutes back then, this probably wasn't that big of a shock to you.
Yeah.
But I mean, for a lot of people, for whatever reason, it's just the timing of that. I mean, if you want to say they weren't the best band, fine. But
they were very, very good
in
at
terms
the very least, and resonated with people at a high level.
Yeah, and in terms of importance, I would put them up there with the Beatles, just because if you look at, zoom out a little bit, and how much they changed that moment in culture here, at least here, and I suspect around the world too. It's like, man, it can't be overstated.
Yeah. Number 11, The Who. I love The Who.
I do too.
I wish they were a little more judicious about who they sold the rights to their songs for, because I've had enough of CBS dramas and Walmart ads.
Well, I like The Who, but I also felt like some of their songs could be a little long-winded.
Oh yeah,
like could you wrap this one up?
Yeah.
But I do like them. I think they were like really one of those first really loud, dirty, like really loud in your face. I like that, and I love the story. I should say I love telling the story about the Baba O'Reilly. Like, Roger Daltrey hated singing that, and I love telling this because, like, it just, to me, it's like that band and Daltrey owe a lot of their career to that song. It was a very very popular song, and like, just because you've sung it a million times and hate it doesn't mean like your fans maybe have never seen you play that song don't deserve your best.
Yeah.
And your best version of that. Like, I just think it's like spoiled. I think you've lost the plot when you go, if you're a musician, you're like, I'm not playing my most popular songs. I think you've lost the plot.
Yeah.
Like, why'd you start playing freaking music then, man?
There's some of my favorite musicians who won't play any of their stuff that
and it's such
popular.
That's such
garbage.
Garbage.
Even if it wasn't a hit, just popular with their fans, they won't play it.
It's just garbage.
I've never really understood that either.
No. Look, I've done it. I've played songs a million times, and like, I don't want to do this anymore. But like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, the people are paying to come see you.
Yeah.
Give them a show. It's still show business.
Yeah.
As much as you're a freaking artist, the sensitive artist type.
Yeah.
You're in show business.
Yeah.
Like, respect it, man. Like, respect. Like, maybe you've grown and moved on, and you're not that same person who wrote that song, but you were at the time you wrote that song, and people love it. You want to see it, freaking play it.
Yeah. I will say for The Who, there's some schlock in their later catalog, but their run in the late 60s, early 70s of Tommy, Who's Next, and Quadrophenia is as good as any three-record run for any band ever.
Yeah, and real, like, like kind of before punk, like a real kind of leading up to that. What's the word?
Energy.
What's that word I'm looking for? Like a something to punk,
precursor.
And precursor. There we go. It's a precursor to kind of punk, and like Baba O'Reilly, it's kind of like that. That it's loud.
Well, when you go back to like My Generation, it's a straight blueprint for punk.
Yeah, it gets and Pete Townsend won me some money when they played the Super Bowl a few years back. because you could bet the over and under a number of like windmills he would do playing his guitar. Always take the over.
Yeah, particularly on a national
Oh,
broadcast.
yeah.
Take the over. Number 12, Metallica.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I was a bigger fan of Metallica when I was younger. And this is not just being a hipster kid or whatever. Just I didn't like anything much after Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of metal, thrash metal, or heavier metal, I think like that was a groundbreaking record. Some people might say, well, Slayer. I'm like, okay, they came out around the same time, but like, Master of Puppets was really a masterpiece for that genre and very important. And I would argue, like, Metallica in my mind hasn't put out much good stuff since. And like, and Justice for All, I would tell you, like, yeah, whatever. I think they've remastered. Go listen to the original mix. It was garbage.
Yeah.
There was almost no bass. You almost couldn't hear the bass, and the drums sounded like, Lars is not a very talented drummer anyway, and he's bad enough that you hear that he's not good. So you hear it, and then it's like the drum mix on that always felt like it sounded like he was hitting paper.
Yeah.
To me, at least in the original mix, and it never hit with me. But as far as what they meant to metal, they should be on high up on any list.
They're well out of my wheelhouse. I will say Metallica strikes me as a band where their fans all have some variation of what you were saying, that everything after a certain album is crap. But I think that album changes from person to person.
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah.
And some people will say, oh, I just love Injustice for All. I'm like, no, you don't. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. Number 13, AC/DC.
No, you can't argue with that, man.
Yeah,
that's just classic rock.
That one song still works.
Oh, yeah, that one song they do 13 different versions on every record. Yep. I heard a great interview one time, one of my favorite interviews with the singer, Brian Johnson, the guy that replaced Bon Scott. I was driving to some show. We were in the middle of like nowhere, and it was when you first could get that Sirius radio, and we were just listening to Bon Scott in that thick Australian accent of his, and they just put out a record called Black Ice, and the guy was just, so why'd you pick Black Ice to call this record? And like he starts trying to explain, and then he just gets all flushed. He's like, oh, it just sounded cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much AC/DC.
Yeah, they're not putting a lot of thought into this stuff, folks.
No.
They're just three chords and truth,
Yeah. 14, Creedence Clearwater Revival.
I think Creedence is always... I'm glad to see that they were remembered, because I think they get overlooked all the time. The greatest swamp band from San Francisco.
Yes. Yeah.
and kind of like a real rock and roll, in the real spirit of rock and roll. He's old. Remember, he played a Super Bowl during. It was after America invaded Iraq under the George Bush administration, he was getting the president was getting a lot of shit, and like Dan Fogerty goes on stage and he sings "Fortunate Son."
John Fogerty, yeah,
and like that was like that's not subtle.
No,
I mean that's kind of rock and roll, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. 15, I believe this was number 2 on my list of the greatest American bands. We did this. Talking Heads.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a great mixture of art and music.
Yes. Talking about the great 3 album runs for me, Fear of Music, Remain in Light, and Speaking in Tongues is about as good as it gets. The stuff that came after that, I'm not a fan.
So they're your Metallica?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. After they did the whole, and the Stop Making Sense tour and all that, after that, it kind of went off the rails for me. But up through there was brilliant. 16, The Grateful Dead.
Look, I hate the Grateful Dead. I cannot stand their music. So, like, if you want any thoughtful analysis on the Grateful Dead, like for me, you're not going to get it. I just cannot stand that.
I mean, I lived in Eugene, Oregon for 10 years, so I've heard a lot of Dead. Some of them I'm fine with. I don't hate the Dead.
Their fans annoy the hell out of me.
The funny thing is, and again, I spent 10 years in Eugene, Oregon. I know their fans intimately. I once had to shoot part of a Grateful Dead concert for work when I was working up there. And the staff, all the promoters, everyone who you know, because we were able to like go to the soundboard, plug into the soundboard, and shoot a couple songs, then leave. Yeah. Everyone connected to the band was phenomenal, just absolutely great. The fans were the biggest assholes.
Oh, they're
awful.
Yeah, the thing about the saving grace of the band is I can ignore them and avoid them. There used to be a time like Deadhead fans were everywhere.
Yeah.
And they all had like names that looked normal, but they pronounced it weird. Like, hey, Joshua, it's Joshua. No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's Joshua. No, it's Joshua.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen Infinity Man? Like, just go away from me, Joshua.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You wouldn't have lasted in Eugene.
Go hacky and sack over there, man.
Yeah. Number 17. 17.
Mm-hmm.
Heart.
Ooh, that's pretty high up there.
That's pretty high. Someone at Billboard really loves them some Heart.
Barracuda.
Because, like, here's what comes next. Number 18, The Clash.
You put Heart above The Clash?
Above The Clash. Clash is probably top 5 for both of us, I'm guessing. Or close to it.
Yes, top 5. I mean, they are, like, the greatest band of an entire genre of music.
Yeah. London Calling alone is one of the greatest rock albums of all time.
Yes.
I'm not sure I would not have it at number 1.
I
mean, but that riff from Barracuda is pretty cool. I don't hate Heart, but my God, we're at 17.
You know,
and if you don't think The Clash is better, at 19 we've got the Beach Boys.
We've talked about the Beach Boys. On this,
and we'll talk more about the Beach Boys when we get to the
because Brian Wilson
in memoriam section of this pod.
Yeah, Brian Wilson is a real genius.
Yes,
and what Beach Boys did, Pet Sounds. I mean, even the songs on there, like everybody talks about the production, but the songs were pretty damn good on Pet Sounds too.
God only knows it's on Pet Sounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think McCartney called that the greatest song of all time.
Yes. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think
to be fair, maybe McCartney hadn't heard Barracuda. I don't know.
I mean, yes. Ooh. And then that's just weird. Because to me, like, you know, when we did the best American bands, it was like, I think Beach Boys was number 1.
And they're frequently right up there on these lists.
Yeah. Does it get better?
So they're weirdly low.
Yeah.
20, Radiohead.
Yeah, I could take it or leave it. I was never a big Radiohead guy.
I really like Radiohead up until the point they were anointed geniuses, and then after that, they kind of fall off for me. Like, they've peaked for me at the album The Bends. I think The Bends is brilliant. And then OK Computers after that, I like that. And then it's a lot of beeps and boops to me after that. I don't know.
After they get anointed geniuses, they take it,
yeah.
And they took it a little too serious.
Yeah. 21, Van Halen.
So I put them up higher.
I probably would too. You know, there's a pretty vast gulf between the best of Van Halen and the worst of Van Halen.
Yes.
But at their best, man, that was a pretty great band.
Before keyboards were introduced. On 1984. Pre-1984, some of the
1984 had its moments.
I mean, you know, we talk about like Kiss, like back, you know, never did it for me, right? I was always wanting something louder and harder. Like Van Halen did, man. They delivered. You know, a lot. There's at least that narrative that Van Halen kind of saved rock and roll from disco, where Kiss.
Their biggest
fucking
hit.
Made a disco song.
I Was Made for Loving You is their biggest hit.
Yeah, I think it's number 1 on Spotify if you look up Kiss.
Yeah.
Great rock band. Like,
straight up disco song.
They're a disco band.
Yeah. And one of the best things about early Van Halen too is for like a hard rock band, they were fun, which is not like Metallica, great band. I don't think anyone's describing Metallica as fun. You know?
Oh my God.
You've
never heard anybody say, "Man, that Lars Ulrich's a great hang."
No, and like, you know, there's songs about the, you know, multi-amputee soldier, and you know, it's dark, which is, you know, obviously great place for that, but they're not fun. Van Halen's fun.
They were until they got Sammy Hagar,
and then they just sort of got stupid.
Yeah. I want the best. Oh God,
yeah.
Anything with the synthesizer, because Eddie Van Halen, again, took himself as so serious. I've got to be seen as a real musician. It's like, dude, just play rock and roll.
Yeah. 22, Rage Against the Machine.
I don't know. I could always
solidly
take or
there with
leave
you.
that band.
One spot ahead of 23, Guns N' Roses.
A whole band. See, they put out a really amazing record.
They have one brilliant record.
Yes.
They have a couple where the high points are like absurdly over the top and bloated, but still kind of great.
Uh-huh.
Like the whole, from Use Your Illusion, you have, November Rain and a few other things like
Isn't
that,
yeah.
that are ridiculously over the top, but are like really good for that.
Yeah,
And
but it also is like
with
this
a lot of filler and a lot
this
of
is a
schlock.
dangerous band from L.A. And
Yeah.
like he's singing with and he's swimming with dolphins in that
Yes,
video.
yes. But Appetite for Destruction is as good a rock record as you're ever going to hear.
Yeah, it really is.
And to have it behind, I don't know, Rage
Barracuda.
Against the Machine and Heart is a little hard to take, I think. Number 24, The Velvet Underground.
I like the Velvet. The Velvet, it's like a vibe, and I got to be in the mood for them. But they're great.
I'm noticing for the first time on this list I have, there it is, 25, Mana. It's a Spanish language band. I don't know. Kind of feels cutesy poo that they're on the list, but I'm not familiar with them, so I won't say anymore. 26, The Pretenders.
Oh, I dig the Pretenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know if they're top 30.
I don't know that they would be either. I'm happy with them on the top 50. They might be high, but whatever. 27. This is one of the ones that angers the bros on social media. Parliament Funkadelic.
Why does it anger the bros?
You know why it angers the bros. That's a funk band. That's not a rock band. That absolutely one of the great rock bands of all time.
Absolutely.
Probably low on the list.
Absolutely. Parliament, the prior iteration of Funkadelic.
Yeah.
George Clinton. I mean, those guys, oh, man.
Yeah.
And the legacy, and we'll talk about this a little bit too with Sly and the Family Stone. I mean, their legacy goes beyond that into rap music. I mean, these are some heavily sampled bands from that time that go on and get replayed again in Dr. Dre songs, Public Enemy songs, blah blah blah. The bros need to shut the hell up on that one, man, because George Clinton is for real.
Yes. 28, the Allman Brothers Band. Their best stuff's great, and I could be a lot more familiar with the band than I am, but like Jessica's great, and Melissa, and there's a lot of good songs there, so I have no issue with them at 28.
No.
29. This was my number one American rock band when we did that list. REM.
Seems a little low.
Yeah, I'd have them much higher than 29. They're easily top 10, maybe top 5 for me.
Because I was not that big into them when they were at the time, but like when I go back and listen to their stuff, I was like, oh, they were legit.
Yeah, great band
and a great band. And I'm talking about the stuff before, even before like Everybody Hurts and all that kind of stuff came out, like all the earlier stuff. They were a really great, rowdy, like great college radio band.
Yeah. Yeah, saw them when I was in college. They played the ballroom at the student union.
That's great. That's great.
Number 30, Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam can go away, and if Pearl Jam went away, and like you could no longer download it, purchase it, buy it, listen to it, my life would not change one bit.
Yeah, I like Pearl Jam. I don't like. It's one of those where I kind of feel like I have all I need.
Yeah.
They put out a new album and I get sort of excited and I listen to it and go, it's okay.
They're like a movie that you kind of like, but you're never going to go back and watch.
Yeah, I'm kind of solidly there, yeah. 31, Paramore.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing against Paramore. Haley Williams is an amazing front woman.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I ever saw them, I was like in a waiting room or something, and someone had like the Today Show on, and something. They were doing their concert series, and the sound was off, and I didn't know who it was. I hadn't heard of the band at that point, but I was watching her fronting the band, going, "God, she's phenomenal." I don't know if they're any good, but she's great. So yeah, whatever. They're at 31, one spot ahead of Aerosmith. Feels low.
A little bit.
It's a hit or miss.
They are a legit rock and roll band.
Yeah.
And one of the better ones. I put them in the 70s before, the 80s were, again, it's their revival probably due more to Run DMC and Wayne's World.
Yes.
Wayne's World did a lot for this list.
It kind of did. One of my go-tos if I'm figuring out where to rank bands like this is just think if you're putting together a playlist or like a greatest hits, 10 to 15 songs by this band, their best stuff.
Yeah.
How would that rank?
Yeah.
For Aerosmith, that'd be pretty damn good. That's a pretty solid album.
Yeah, their songwriting is really, really good too, because they are the ultimate band that lives by the rule, don't bore us, get to the chorus. Yeah. So many of their big songs start with the big chorus.
Yeah.
And it's like a brilliant way to write a song.
Yeah. Yeah.
A pop
Dude
song.
Looks Like a Lady.
Yeah.
Opens with the chorus.
Again, don't bore us, get to the chorus.
33, The White Stripes.
I like the White Stripes.
I do too. Seven Nation Army is good enough to put you on at least 33.
Yeah.
I would probably put them higher. It's a great band. 34, 9 Inch Nails. Never done it for me either.
I will say this. I wasn't like somebody who was going out and buying their records, but I did see he did a comeback show. Trent Reznor, and I saw him at Marquee. And
really?
It is an amazing 2 hours.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Well, that's a tiny place for them.
Yeah, and it was a great live show that night.
Nice.
So,
35, The Eagles. That'll be a nah for me, dog.
We have a dear coworker friend loves the Eagles.
Yeah. I'm solidly a Big Lebowski guy on this.
Yeah.
I
don't mind I'll be honest, I don't mind the Eagles. If you put it on, I can deal with it. Now, if you put on Grateful Dead, I'm going to be like, dude, no.
I will say with the Eagles, if I'm going to listen to that sort of thing, I will put on the Flying Burrito Brothers, who did the same thing.
A whole lot better.
Infinitely better. 36, one spot behind the Eagles, the Ramones.
See, that's low to me.
That's very low.
That's very low for a band.
They kind of fall into the AC/DC. They're playing the same song over and over. It's a pretty great song.
To write one song that everybody can sing to is something, but to write so many songs that people can love and sing along to, it's just amazing to me. And I've always thought Ramones were underappreciated because I myself underappreciated them for a long time. And their body of work, their longevity, what they did, what they, how they mattered, I think that's very low on that list.
I agree. 37, Thin Lizzy. I was surprised to see them there. No particular argument with it, but I was surprised.
Yeah, well, they're not bad.
No. 38, Santana. Yeah.
My whole life I've been told how great Santana is. Okay.
I like Carlos Santana's guitar playing. He's one of the few
he's fine.
That make the list of the great guitar players I listen to and go, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he's fine.
But, yeah, I don't do a lot of recreational listening there either.
Yeah, no.
39, Green Day.
I don't know. It seems maybe
we're just the wrong age for this. Because to me, Green Day, I look at that and I'm like, really? Green Day? But Jesus, they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I listen to them and I just hear someone that's so derivative of bands I listened to before Green Day was a thing.
And and Green Day was very derivative from
yes.
that. They were very much Clash influenced. They sounded a lot. They were very Descendants influenced.
Yeah.
I would certainly have, for me, I'm probably more of a fan of them than you are. For me, I would definitely have them above Heart.
Yes. I won't argue with that. 40, another band we'll be talking about later, Blondie. Very good band. A lot of the stuff people know them for isn't necessarily some of their best stuff.
No.
But very good band. Number 41, The Band.
I feel like The Band is a band you're supposed to give reverence to.
Yes. Yes, you are. And they're very good.
There's a couple of real bangers.
Yeah. There's some really good stuff there.
But
yeah. 42 also on the list of getting the bros angry online. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Ooh, Jungle Boogie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah. Yeah, good band.
Yeah, it's I'm okay with kind of where they're at there. I mean, they could be a little bit higher to me.
Yeah. 43, and I'm not saying this is wrong, but again, it just feels weird to me. No Doubt.
That they're not top 50.
And again, the only time I saw No Doubt, I've seen No Doubt once, and it was when Gwen was about a year out of high school, and she was the backup singer then, and they were opening for a really weird Red Hot Chili Peppers show.
They're not top 50, dude.
I don't think they're top 50 either. 44, I don't even know how to say this. Cafe Tavba? I don't know what this is.
I'd love to talk shit about that, but I don't know anything.
What it is. 45, The Stooges.
That's very low.
It is.
I'm going to argue. Okay, that's very low. They're a very, very important band.
46, Oasis. I like Oasis. I think that this feels about right to me.
Okay.
47, I saw a lot of people pissed off about this. Def Leppard.
They're not top 50.
A lot of the posts were like, as soon as I saw Def Leppard was out of the top 10, I knew this list was bullshit. I mean, in terms of bands with a one-armed drummer, they're one of the best.
Yeah, I mean, God damn it.
But they're fine.
Is it appropriate? Is now the time to tell the old joke? What has 9 arms, 10 legs, and sucks? Def Leppard.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Pour Some Sugar on Me has aged well. For this was one of the standout entries. Number 48, Slater-Kinney. I mean, this is no slight to Slater-Kinney.
No, it's more of
really?
It's more of paying respect to what Carrie Brownstone Steen has done since her music career.
Yeah.
Like, isn't the Slater-Kinney, isn't she like the one
Portlandia?
And
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I think that comes from.
That's just a weird standout.
I mean, if you're gonna throw a band like that down there, I would put Bikini Kill or Flipper, bands like that.
And I've compiled a list of bands that did not make this list, and I think most of them would probably slot in ahead of Slater-Kinney.
Yeah.
Number 49, The Cure.
That's kind of low.
It felt kind of low.
Okay, that feels like really low. I mean, for that genre of music, I mean, they were the Beatles of that kind of gothy.
Yeah. Yeah, feels very low. And number 50, rounding out the top 50, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Here's the thing about the Red Hot Chili Peppers for me. And I was at once a really, really big fan. I have seen the Chili Peppers like 6, 7, 8 times live. The most recent show that I've seen, the last time I saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers live, was 1989. The fact that I've seen them play a beer garden at my college. I've seen them at the old Golden Bear, the legendary Golden Bear like bar in Huntington Beach. I've seen them play hotel ballrooms. I've seen them in weird spots, and the fact that they're now doing multiple nights at SoFi Stadium in LA just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think their stuff since I last saw them, which is again 35 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly sucks. And I'm not going to make a great case for the stuff before that, except I really liked it. I was
Mother's Milk was a pretty damn good record.
That was, to me, the last one I liked.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I mean, I'm not going to argue that they're on the top 50. I wouldn't want to see them a whole lot higher than 50.
Yeah, I don't.
I bet you.
I don't know. I'm a little close to it to decide on this, just because they, when I was in high school, they meant a lot to me, and then after that, and that was again a hell of a long time ago. Weirdest Chili Pepper show I went to. The final one, the last one I saw was the first time I saw them with John Frusciante and Chad Smith. I believe.
Okay.
Before that, and I believe this was the show that No Doubt opened. I saw the Chili Peppers when the lineup for the Chili Peppers was Anthony Kiedis, Flea, Blackbird McKnight, and D.H. Peligro.
Whoa.
Blackbird McKnight of Parliament, D.H. Peligro of the Dead Kennedys. That lineup lasted about a month. when they kicked Blackbird McKnight out of the band and he tried to set Anthony's house on fire. And D.H. Peligro didn't last much longer than that. And I think, and I saw, and again, I'd seen them 5 or 6 times.
D.H. Peligro was just like, I just can't.
Yeah. I'd seen them repeatedly before then. I was a big fan. I saw them on that show and thought, oh, that sucks. That's it. These guys are done, because they were awful. They were awful, and I couldn't recognize any of the things they were playing. And I had everything they'd ever recorded and seen them live repeatedly, and I couldn't recognize anything, and it was god awful. And I thought, that's it. Chili Peppers are done. Nice run, but that's it. And then they hired John Frusciante and Chad Smith and became, a band that plays a 70,000 seat stadium 2 nights in a row. So that's the top 50. Let me pull up my list of the bands who did not make the top 50. Starting with the Kinks.
Yeah, Kinks should be there.
Kinks are, again, top 5, top 10 for me.
One of the
The Smiths.
Yeah, how do you pull this off? What do they got? What do they got against that era of music? Because like the Cure is so low. There's the Smiths get shorted.
The Smiths is also that's my number one. What the hell are they not doing in the Hall of Fame band? They're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I mean, I get one of their singers is such an incredible douchebag.
Morrissey is insufferable. Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to even say his name.
Yeah. Johnny Marr, the guitarist, is my favorite guitarist.
Mm-hmm.
Others, Cheap Trick didn't make it.
Cheap Trick is a damn good Detroit band.
Chicago.
Sorry.
Chicago. Yeah. Rockford, technically. Beautiful Rockford. New Order.
Okay.
Wilco, another Chicago band. I'm not saying they should be top 10, but that's a top 50 band to me if you're looking at some of the other stuff that made the top 50. Husker Du, The Replacements, Isley Brothers. There are 2 more that did not make it that I would not be putting on the list, but I was shocked they did not make it.
Mm-hmm.
The Doors.
I'm just so... I just don't think the Doors were great.
I don't either, but I seem to be solidly in a minority there. I'm surprised they didn't make a top 50.
Yeah.
The other one's Cream.
Thank
Just
God.
throwing you a little red meat there.
Yep.
Yeah. So
listeners of the podcast know our
long-time listeners are familiar
our
with
lack
the
of
issue
affection,
there.
our lack of affection for Eric Clapton.
Yeah, Derek and the Dominoes also not making it.
Man.
So yeah, that's the list. Kind of a I don't know.
That was
stuff on there.
It's just like weird, like predictable, generic top 5. And then like some really mysterious, like I mean, Heart.
The randomizer. The Heart at 17 is the one I can't get past.
Whatever.
All right. So the In Memoriam segment.
In Memoriam.
You want to kick it off?
Let's just first explain what this is real quick for those still following through. We thank you. For sticking with us through all this. So we're going to be talking a little bit about some of our favorite musicians and their bands that died over this past year. R.I.P. or RIP, in peace to all of these folks.
And worth noting, we've each picked 5 that meant something to us. So there are a lot of people on the list that we're not going to talk about, but
there's a lot of people.
There are plenty of people, including D'Angelo, who died very young, Marianne Faithfull, Roberta Flack, Garth Hudson, Joe Eli, Raul Malo, terrific singer with the Mavericks who just passed a couple weeks ago. We're not talking about them, but we're not, we can't mention everyone, and we're focusing on the ones who specifically meant more to us personally.
Yeah, and I'll start it off here with one. Sam Moore. He was the Sam in the Sam and Dave duo. For me, one of my favorite soul acts there is, one of my favorite bands or musicians. I really just love their stuff. I think they're part of Americana too. You cannot have intentionally listened to any of these records or any of these songs, but you're probably familiar with them.
Yeah.
that's how important they are. I mean, I just was jotting notes down about like how I thought about them and like a couple of other interesting facts. I mean, think about these songs, and these are like some of their first in order songs that were released, right? Oh, man, you don't know me like I know. Hold on, I'm coming. You got me humming. When something's wrong with my baby, I thank you, Soul Man.
Yeah.
It doesn't get a lot better than that.
No.
The interesting thing about them, too, was they just absolutely despised each other.
Yes. Yes.
They did not talk to each other for 13 years.
Yeah. And that includes time when they were performing together.
Yes. Yes, that should be important. That's an important detail. They were still together, yet they would stay in separate hotel rooms, take separate vehicles to the music venues, and repeatedly wouldn't even really look at each other while they were on stage. All right, man.
All righty. Number one for me, and this is a tricky, weird one for me, but Ace Frehley. Guitarist.
Why you got to bring up Kiss,
the
man?
Original guitarist for Kiss. Here's the thing. Kiss is schlock. I don't like Kiss.
It's all schlock.
But when I was 8, Kiss kicked ass when I was 8.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably not alone in this. I discovered the Beatles largely through the movies or something. I knew the Beatles stuff when I was that age.
Wasn't Kiss in some really bad movies?
Yeah. Phantom of the, I don't know. They had something that was like a Phantom of the Opera knockoff, but like at an amusement park, I think. And they also had an album called Music from the Elder, but like the Elder doesn't exist. Yeah. Like to me, and I have friends who love Kiss to this day, friends who I respect and have, impeccable musical taste other than they love Kiss. And I don't get it because I was sort of done with Kiss by the time I was 9. But Ace Frehley was just this sort of cool, spacey, crazy thing who was still sort of likable even while the others were insufferable. And just one anecdote I found funny about this. I'm a big fan of Butch Walker. Butch Walker, originally, he moved from Atlanta to Hollywood with his band when he was 18, and a buddy of his, a high school buddy of his, was his guitar tech and moved with him. And the guy sort of moved up in the guitar tech world and eventually became guitar tech for Ace Frehley in Kiss, which has its own special challenges because with someone like Butch, you're keeping the guitar in tune and whatever. With Ace Frehley, like the guitar explodes. You've got other stuff to deal with. And one of the issues they had was they had fireworks that would shoot out the neck of the guitar. But Ace was so perpetually out of it that they couldn't depend on him to not just blast the fans in the face with the fireworks, which is bad. You can't do that. So it was up to this guy to figure out what to do to keep Ace from burning the front rows of the crowd with the neck of his guitar because he wasn't. I mean, he couldn't do it on his own.
This was a problem in rock and roll in the 70s.
Yes, and this guy figured out to put a mercury switch in the guitar so the pyro wouldn't work unless it was at a certain angle where it wouldn't be blasting into the faces of the front row.
Oh, it's just genius.
There are other Ace Frehley anecdotes.
I was going to say, are you going to bring up any of the other anecdotes you found?
Peter Criss, their drummer back then, had a autobiography where he described some of their exploits. And there are orgy discussions in that are just a bit hair-raising.
Yeah.
Including, let's see how blandly I can put this. They're in an orgy and Peter Criss feels something happening to him, and he looks down and realizes it's Ace, and was a little surprised at that, but then realized that Ace was so wasted at all times that he was pretty sure Ace couldn't tell the difference between a man and a woman, and so it may not have meant.
Yes, you got to back your band brothers up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
anyway.
you got to.
Ace Frehley fell, hit his head this year, died.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
And if you want other anecdotes like that, folks, Google it yourself.
Yeah, they're out there.
There are a lot of them out there. Up next, obviously, Ozzy Osbourne, king of metal.
Yeah. And reality TV.
And reality TV. I mean, not only was he transformative, was able to, stay relevant for so many years with his music, but personally, he was transformative too. Because here was a guy that, earlier in his career would draw the ire and protest of churches and evangelicals, and was accused of being a Satan worshiper and playing Satan's music and all this stuff. But he would transform himself later in life to being like America's dad, America's grandpa, and Meet the Osbournes, one of the avant-garde reality TV shows. I was out there. I always found that to be, pretty amazing, and to the point where I always wondered, like, if there's somebody's younger than us at a certain age, do they know Ozzy more as a reality show host or as a musician?
I've got to think it's the reality show guy,
because that show was so popular.
Yeah, they know Sharon more than they know like Iron Man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I respect to him, and I've got how I was introduced to him is as a lad, 12, 13 years old. Was a bit of a ne'er-do-well.
Yeah.
And I got in trouble with the law a little bit, and I had to do court-ordered restitution for most of a summer. And my mom bought me a Walkman, the old Walkman where you can put a cassette tape in there. And I went out and obtained a copy of
obtained a copy of
obtained a copy of We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll. Because I wanted something long, and I didn't have to, it's like I knew it was like a longer, it was like it for whatever. And I must have listened to that 1,000 times that summer. And to this day, when I hear like Sweet Leaf or any song that from that record, it just takes me back to chopping wood and whacking
picking
weeds
up
down
trash for the man.
And picking up trash for the man. Funny story, we had a rake. We were taking out these big weeds, and this one kid just like, I can't do this anymore, man. I'm so tired. He's like, whack me in the shins, man. Send me home. I'm like, no, dude, I'm not gonna do that. He keeps bugging me, and so finally I do. Whack him, and he's like, man, harder. I took a real swing, dude. And the guy just screams like this high pitch. I can just hear him. And like he's in like real pain, man. And like they come over and they're like, it was an accident, blah, blah, blah. And he's in real pain, man. And they're taking him off, and he looks back at me and kind of gives me a thumbs up or a wink. And I'm just like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Whack me in the shins with a rake.
Like really, really, like one, not one of the flimsy, like something that takes down weeds, right?
Yeah.
It's just, it was brutal. I didn't see him again for the rest of the. I was like, what the hell did I do to that kid's shin?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's how
that seems like a perfect soundtrack to doing court-ordered restitution.
Yeah, so that's how I got introduced to Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath and all that good stuff.
All right. Next on my list, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys.
Brian Wilson is it's thrown around a lot that this person or that person is a musical genius. There's a very legitimate and good case for this man.
Yes. And it's funny when people talk about the greatness of Brian Wilson or the greatness of the Beach Boys, mostly they're talking about one record, and it's Pet Sounds, which is, it deserves it. It's a brilliant album. And it's mostly Brian Wilson and the Wrecking Crew, the old studio musicians who put together, who appeared on virtually every song of the 60s and 70s. And it was that whole album was just in his head, and it was a matter of getting it out of his head and through the instruments and onto the tape. Brilliant guy whose later years were a lot of mental illness and a lot of issues and a kind of sleazo
his whole
therapist.
life, man, was seems like
Yeah,
the way they were brought up and the way
Yes.
they were, that whole life just seems slightly tragic.
Yeah.
What was the movie about him? John Cusack was in it.
God, that was a tough watch.
That was really tough. Because I was like, I remember that was one of those movies. I was like, man, that's brilliant. I'm never watching that again.
I forget the name again. Yes, it was really difficult.
Brilliant, but I am never watching that again because it was so sad.
Yeah. If you have not heard it, go and listen to Pet Sounds.
Yeah.
There's other stuff in the Beach Boys catalog that is worthy, but that's if you want to hear
and
it,
the insiders and the hipsters will talk about like the great production value of that record, which is true. It was very groundbreaking in its production and all that, but by and large, too, I think that the songwriting and the songs on that record are strong.
It has God Only Knows on it,
yeah.
which I believe Paul McCartney said is the greatest song ever written. It's got Wouldn't It Be Nice on it, which is a brilliant song.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't listened to it, listen to it.
Yeah, you sure you have, but you haven't in a while.
Listen to it again.
Do it again. Okay, I got Sly Stone here.
Yeah.
He died this past year, 82. Sad case here. Again, real genius with music here. I would put him up there with someone like a Prince.
Yeah.
Because he was groundbreaking with psychedelic funk, with just funk itself. I mean, it was just I can't imagine what it would have been like to first hear this band in the late 60s, because that sound was so new.
Yeah.
The slapping of the bass and, the vocal cadences and progressions were different.
Yeah.
Real groundbreaking band in itself, because it was one of the first, if not the first, to really interracial band where, whites and blacks played together and in harmony in this damn band. And unfortunately, life didn't turn out great for Sly afterwards. There was an anecdote I came across where Miles Davis, the legendary jazz player, was obsessed with doing something with Sly Stone, because this is would have been the early 70s when Miles Davis is doing Witch's Brew and all that other kind of stuff, like real rock jazz fusion, trying to fuse stuff together. And he really wanted to do something with Sly. But he was quoted as saying he just never felt safe going over to Sly's house because there was always a lot of armed bodyguards and a lot of drug use.
Yeah.
And if Miles Davis, man, was not, at least from what I heard, not exactly the most model of model citizens.
No.
Is like, I'm a little uncomfortable what's going on over there, man. But life didn't turn out well for Sly. I ran across a story from from 2011 where he was allegedly he was living in a van.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles. I mean, that's just sad.
There was a tribute segment to him on the Grammys several years ago, where they had like an all-star band doing a medley of Sly Stone songs, and they were hoping Sly would join them, and they had reached out and he was going to be there. But they didn't know if he was going to show up or not, to the point where they come out of the commercial break, they introduce the band, and they start the tribute, and they don't know if he's going to be there or not. There were reports he was in the building, but they're starting it. They've got like Dave Grohl and a bunch of people on stage who are playing like Stand and, Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself and all the, and they don't know if he's there. And in the middle of it, this older black guy in a silver lame, like spacesuit looking thing.
Green mohawk.
Walks out, gets up to the keyboards, doesn't really play them, but at the appropriate time goes, boom, shakalaka-laka, boom, shakalaka-laka, and then waves and walks off. Which it was kind of fabulous.
That is fabulous, man.
I love Sly Stone. I was disappointed to hear he was lost. It was,
Yeah, it's also disappointing to hear when life didn't turn out well for a lot of those folks. Because I'm sure he got really fair record deals from those record execs back then too.
Would imagine so.
I'm sure he got his fair share.
Yeah. Big one for me. Jimmy Cliff died this year. Reggae singer. Reggae's a little like the Beatles in rock and roll. Like everyone has to acknowledge that the Beatles are the greatest rock band of all time. And Bob Marley is the greatest greatest reggae musician of all time. Bob Marley and the Wailers, that's it. They're the most important, all that. My favorite's Jimmy Cliff. I love Jimmy Cliff. If you want a great listen as just a reggae compilation, the soundtrack to The Harder They Come is probably my favorite movie soundtrack of all time. It's fabulous. It has The Harder They Come by Jimmy Cliff. It has Many Rivers to Cross, which is brilliant. Plus, it's got Toots and the Maytals and a variety of others.
Toots and the Maytals, that's probably my favorite reggae band. And my favorite record is Funky Kingston.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
So yeah, Jimmy. I had a chance to see Jimmy Cliff a few years ago while I was on vacation in Europe, and I didn't, and I've kicked myself for that ever since. And he never seemed to play the U.S. He played Europe, but that was about it. So yeah, Jimmy Cliff, great reggae singer, died in the past year.
Let's got to get hurrying up here. I got to get back down. David Johansen.
Yeah.
New York Dolls. I mean, here's a guy. If you know me, know this, and listen to this show, you know that I love the punk rock.
Yeah.
And, the 70s New York scene, instrumental, very important into the development of that music and doing all that. And New York Dolls were as seminal to all of that and as important to all that as Blondie, as the Ramones, as any other Dead Boys, as any other band from that era. They were the kind of the pioneers of glam punk, glam music. And I believe, he was a major, influence in the glam rock of metal rock of the 80s. I don't think there would have been a Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses the way they were without the New York Dolls. And the singer of the New York Dolls, I mean, you probably mostly know him as Buster Poindexter, where he reinvented himself in the 80s. But I don't necessarily want to talk about Buster Poindexter because I'd like to just ignore that and pretend it didn't happen, much like Godfather 3. It never happened.
Yeah, I'm solidly with you there. Also for me, Mike Peters, frontman for The Alarm. Also, I actually saw him once fronting Big Country, who
was on the album Big Country and the song Big Country?
Yeah. Okay. Mike Peters is a great singer-songwriter, great frontman for a band, like really earnest and like in an era where there was a lot of ironic, cutesy stuff and like self-awareness. He was full on out, singing his heart out, meaning every word in a way I really kind of like. Also, early days, like major hairspray abuse. The Alarm's shtick was like the hair all went to the ceiling. And the guy fought cancer for 30 years.
Oof.
Touring, and when I saw him in recent years, there was a sign-up booth to get in the bone marrow registry. That was like a
30
major
years.
crusade. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He did not go quietly.
He didn't. Terrific singer, terrific stage presence. I saw The Alarm a bunch of times. Great band.
And I'll wrap with Steve Cropper. We just spoke about him. Was it a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
So there's not much more else you could say about this guy. He was
guitarist from Booker T and the MGs.
He was founding member of Booker T and the MGs. He was part of the house band with Stax Records. I mean, bottom line is, if there's a soul song out there from the 60s, early 70s, or whatever that you love, there's probably a 50% chance that Cropper either wrote it or performed on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I would ask the rhetorical question, and you can answer it if you want to, though. Is he the, maybe the most important musician that not everybody knows? And it's not a household name.
Yeah.
From that
I would think he's absolutely on the very, very short list. The only people who come to mind for me that are up there are the members of the Wrecking Crew, the studio musicians of the 60s and 70s who played on everything. Guys like, Hal Blaine, the drummer. That's the only thing I can think of that's comparable.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy that gave the opening guitar riff at Soul Man, and he wrote "Sitting on the Dock of the Bay," and we briefly discussed this the last time we talked to him when he died.
Yeah.
One of the saddest things is when, not only did he help write that song, he helped record it, and then he was told he had to mix that song and send it off to Atlantic Records. the day after his good friend Otis Redding died.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. It's phenomenal.
It's just a phenomenal one of the best songs from that era.
Last one for me that I think was under the radar for most people, Clem Burke, one of the all-time great drummers. The definitive power pop drummer, best known for being the drummer from Blondie throughout their entire career. So he spent 50 years drumming for Blondie. Here he was at one point for about 15 years. He was also the drummer for the Romantics.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the list of other bands or musicians he played with for extended periods: the Ramones, Bob Dylan, Eurythmics, Iggy Pop, the Plimsouls, Pete Townsend, Joan Jett, the Stranglers, Dramarama, and Nancy Sinatra. That's a partial list. The guy played with Bob Dylan. He played with the Stranglers. That's some pretty good range.
He did it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever met one of those old school guys that had just like played with everybody?
Not really, no.
I've known people who were like, have played record, like they've done stuff with a bunch of different things, and the way that they talk and they're not name dropping.
Yeah,
can be kind of. I wouldn't. Yeah, old Bobby and blah 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 told him to get out of my way.
Yeah,
like who? Dylan.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Bob Dylan, Pete Townsend, Iggy Pop.
Yeah.
Plimsouls. Yeah.
Come on, man.
All right.
On that happy note.
Yeah. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. I hope you've all survived.
You can go back to arguing with your Uncle Mike now.
Sorry we didn't get to religion.
Yeah. Yeah. Dennis has work to do downstairs.
Hey, have a great holiday. Merry Christmas to you, Colin. Merry Christmas to everybody who listened. And if you're still with us here, thank you so much. I am stunned. Stunned if you're still listening.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thanks for listening. You can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, the Google Store, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. See you next time.